Lying. Purposely misleading someone. We've all grown up hearing that it's wrong, yet we've all done it, which means every one of us has justified it. My name is Tejas Ulor, and my favorite animal is the seahorse. In this video, we're going to explore lying by creating a girls versus guys game show competition.
Ladies, gentlemen, contestants, give a little round of applause.
While also simultaneously discussing the durability of four-wheeler golf carts. We'll then take that footage to Dr. Leanne Brinke, a professor of distrust, deception, and dark personalities.
Well, this is hard.
Okay, this is hard. Okay, that's an interesting, statement for her to make. So,
and also talk about the chemical properties of potassium nitrate. One of these things was a lie. Could you spot it? Statistically, you have a 54% shot. Unless you're Dr. Brinke. We'll get to her in just a second.
Welcome back to another episode of Exploring the Gray Area. If that's your first time hearing that title on this channel, me too. But lately, I've been interested in sort of these darker aspects of the human condition. Things like confrontation, infidelity, and now lying. In this limited series, we explore these topics by first having my friends or myself play a game show. And then we take that footage to amazing psychologists or therapists to really understand what's behind why humans do what they do. So without further ado, let's see what's going on with this game show so that you all can play along with us. Basically, a week ago, I brought in 5 of my friends. So there's 2 teams of 3. 3 women, 3 men. And we're gonna understand today who is better at lying and who is better at lie detecting. In front of me are a bunch of cards, envelopes. The ones in the middle is a prompt, and the ones over here is an instruction. On one set was a bunch of different prompts that was asking them to tell a story.
okay.
Tell us a story of when you bullied or got bullied by someone.
This is good. That's a good one. There was like a bunch of different prompts about recalling your memory of the past. After that, you're gonna pull one of these cards. These cards either say, tell a lie or tell the truth. I instructed everyone if they got the tell a lie card, at least 50% of their story has to be a lie. So it can't just be small omissions or commissions, like most of
That's a
them.
helpful detail.
Once you're ready, you're gonna have the stage for about 2 to 3 minutes to tell a story. After the person tells their story, the other team gets to cross-examine them.
But I felt really bad because he got in trouble and he got grounded for it.
But you said that you got in big trouble.
I did. I got in trouble because I got him in trouble is a better way of putting it.
Because you said that you got in big trouble.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You got in big
I,
trouble.
Ask questions, poke holes in the story, and then eventually the opposite team is going to guess with, we officially think you are either lying or telling the truth. If they get it correct, they get a point.
Okay, and what's on the line? Is it just glory?
It's glory. It's glory. It's knowing that we are representing our half of the population, and everyone was very like.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm invested in the girls' team, so we'll see how
Okay.
they do.
Yeah, you have to be unbiased here.
Oh, sorry.
What are your expectations going into this, and what are you looking for?
What's really interesting about this setup is a few different things, which I think make it likely to be kind of rich in terms of things that we can talk about and things that we might be able to see here. So one is that, they're getting these topics and they're getting the instruction to tell the truth or to lie, like in the moment. So they do not have time to prepare. One of the things that we know is that when people have time to prepare their lies, they look very much like truth tellers. And so being able to catch someone kind of off guard, even if it's with just unanticipated questions, even if they knew they were going to lie about that topic in advance, that can increase the likelihood that you'll see some cues to deception. So I'm hopeful that we'll see something going on here. Another thing that I think is really fascinating is that you've got this group of people here, right? And they are making these decisions together. So there's this amazing study by Nick Epley out of the University of Chicago showing that groups, when they make decisions about who's lying and who's telling the truth, are considerably more accurate than individuals trying to do that alone. And what's super cool about that effect that he finds is that it's not like a wisdom of the crowd effect. It's not like taking everyone's individual impression and like averaging it together. It's literally something that emerges out of the conversation. So you have to have the conversation in order to get that boost in accuracy. I mean, he found it was something like you go from like 50-ish% accuracy individually to closer to 70.
I mean, that's the difference between like flipping a coin and...
Yeah, it's a huge jump.
Wow.
And so, you know,
okay.
what that study didn't do is it didn't really analyze like, what are they talking about in these conversations? Like, how does the conversation, you know, bring up maybe cues of deception that are more reliable than, say, gaze aversion, right?
Makes sense.
And so I'm curious to see that.
I'll keep my mouth shut, but I think it's obvious that you study this topic and you know what you're talking about. So I have so much to say, but I think we should just watch.
Okay.
All right, Annie, you can select a prompt, whichever one you'd like.
All right, the prompt is, tell us a story of when you had to confront someone. Okay.
Okay, you can take a second, and then when you're ready, pull one of the random ones on your right.
What's your, like, appropriate level?
Make it fun. Make it fun.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
This
excited.
is like on
I
the
hope we get
internet.
proof here.
Okay, then we'll
Okay.
keep it.
No, don't keep
it.
anything. Go hard.
No, you should. Yeah,
Go hard,
give us
Annie.
give us a good story.
Go crazy.
Whenever you're ready, you can put both hands on the.
Are you measuring her like?
Oh yeah, we have a
Skin
little pulse,
conductance or something?
like a pulse oximeter.
Okay.
So we do have the heart rate of everyone, but also to make them feel more nervous and to build the stakes as well.
Okay, I love that. You know, we call that the bogus pipeline
Oh,
in research. And so if you really want someone to tell you the truth, actually, you can like hook them up to like a fake polygraph, and then they think, oh, there's no point in
There's no point in
lying.
lying, yeah.
That I
That's a
may
good
as well
point.
tell the truth. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's-
Okay, sorry, I just wanted
I
to
knew that. Yeah.
like that. Okay, cool.
All right, gentlemen, we gotta we gotta really
We're ready.
focus.
Right.
Yep.
I'm so ready.
You got this. Okay, this is a story about a time I had to confront someone. My voice is shaky, don't worry about it. It's because I'm going first. You got this. This happened in college, and I've been dating someone for about a year now, and it felt good, and he's kind of friendly with everyone. He's like a guy's girl. He has like a lot of friends with other girls, so I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And there was this one night, we were all home from a night out, and we were having kind of like a group sleepover in one dorm because we were all in dorms together. And everyone was like kind of cuddling, and we all went to sleep, and then damn, I found out in the night he was cuddling my best friend at the time, and they kissed. And his excuse was he thought it was me because it was dark, but bro, yeah, that really sucked, and that was a moment I had to confront someone.
Well, what was the confrontation like?
Okay, that was a good question.
Thank you. It's my question.
I think it was a good question for a couple of different reasons. One is that she doesn't actually talk about the confrontation, right? Yeah, which, you know, could happen for a bunch of different reasons. One is because she's nervous or whatever. But I like that you actually got it like, okay, this is what we're actually supposed to be talking about. I also liked that you framed it in kind of this open-ended way. What was the confrontation like? As opposed to saying like, did you actually confront this person, right? So you could have said something like that, and that would be a very yes or no question, right?
Yeah.
And that gives you very little like room to actually get kind of cues to deception, or even just detail that you could check up on later.
It was like when I was a freshman in college, so like my personality wasn't all the way baked. I really still wanted people to like me, and I really liked this relationship, and I like kind of couldn't believe it. Also, it was like my friend, so it was embarrassing, and so I felt very like embarrassed and bad, and I was kind of like really giggly at the confrontation, and I like regret that I wasn't like about it.
Where did you guys meet?
We met freshman year in like the cafeteria where all the freshmen go to eat, and we both played sports, so we just saw each other all the time.
So was it the morning after you confronted, or did it take you some time?
No, it took a long time. It kind of like the truth was relayed to me slowly. Like I said, it was like a group of people in there. So like I kind of like slowly picked up the clues, and she started acting like a type of way that I was like, I had a feeling because it kind of were like overly flirty, and then I like kind of parceled it out.
Okay, this is not necessarily like a cue to deception or something from her, but one thing that kind of rings true with her story is that she's talking about kind of detecting deception in other people or detecting this cheating experience over this kind of protracted length of time. And so that's something that I think people don't think about a lot, is that like we kind of we're going to watch her talk, and we're going to look for behavioral cues, and we're going to be able to detect whether she's lying or telling the truth right now. What she is saying is actually what people do, is like they might have a suspicion, they start to gather evidence over time, they talk to other people, and so it might take a very long time for someone to actually detect deception, as opposed to kind of what we're trying to do right now, which is just watching behavior, not gathering any other outside information, and make a decision. So,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you keep your friendship with her?
I think we were like weirdly civil for like longer than we should have. Yeah. But again, like it was like we saw each other all the time. We were like on the same sports team, so it was like, no, it was kind of weird. But like after like the truth was like very, very confirmed by her, like because she's the one who told me, I kind of felt like it was almost like an olive branch of grace of being like, damn, maybe we can maintain this relationship. But then like I kept going back and forth, like I don't really know how we can be friends after you did that. Like I don't know.
To me, like hearing this, and I remember having this feeling in the moment, that was a question that could have had a very simple answer, but that had so much detail. That had an unbelievable amount of detail of like, the question was, are you still friends with her? And I think that's almost like yes or no.
That was a yes/no question,
right?
Yeah.
But she almost explained this history over like 2 years. She's on the soccer team with me and everything. That to me indicates like how could she be lying about this, right? That has to be truthful.
I mean, has to is a strong word because there's no like, individual cue. There's no Pinocchio's nose, right? But what I will say is that we know from a ton of research that one of the best cues to deception is a lack of detail. And so you're right, especially when people don't have time to prepare. And so you're right that if people are giving lots of detail in response, perhaps especially to a question that they could have answered very simply and easily, that suggests that it might be more likely to be a truthful statement. Yeah. Were you at all, like she's doing a lot of kind of looking down and stuff, were you at all thinking about?
I'm so oblivious.
Yeah. Okay.
My two, Craig and Velko are very good at that. Actually, later on you'll see me, but I think I was more shocked with how detailed the story was, that I actually wasn't really looking at her gaze in this example.
Yeah, like I said, freshman year, difficult to like know what to do.
This feels very honest.
What do you think, Velko? You're staring.
Did you stay together with him?
No. But I think he actually was like excited to break up.
And did he continue doing stuff with her?
I don't think so, or no.
Irrelevant, Your Honor.
I think they might like I don't think so, because then like quickly after she like started dating someone else, so it was like that blew up in my face for no reason.
Does it hurt telling this story right now?
I'm like embarrassed, but
Okay, I like this question. Does it hurt telling this story right now? And I'll tell you why, is that you can look for kind of inconsistencies between, especially if you ask a question about like an emotion, you can look for, does the way that they are responding to this question like line up with what they're saying they are feeling, right? And again, not a Pinocchio's nose, but we do know that this kind of like ambivalence or inconsistency between people's verbal and nonverbal presentation is more likely in lies relative to the truth. So if she's like, yeah, it was really, it was super upsetting, and she's like laughing and smiling at the same time, then that, that might be a little bit of a red flag.
Point.
Yeah, it's a data point.
It's a data point. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like the question specifically about the emotion.
Not really, because like it was infatuation, not love, and I know that now. So it's not like in like a deep pain place, but
If this is true, she's their GOAT. She's gonna be their finalist.
Yeah.
If this is true.
Oh, you think it's a lie?
No, I think it's true.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So she's lying. Then she's their goat.
Yes, she's lying. Correct. Yeah.
I think she's telling the truth.
No, I think it's true.
feels very
But
obvious
if it's
true,
not,
yes.
she's
it's
their
not
GOAT.
true,
She's elite.
I'm very sleepy.
We should not even continue this. Yeah.
Okay, are we locking it in? You think it's true? I think it's so true.
You think it's true?
Yeah. Okay, you think it's true?
Oh, she was looking down the whole time. I didn't feel anything really.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so feel again, a very subtle cue, but we have done research on, these emotional high stakes lies and how likely you are to kind of catch that emotion if you are watching that video. You're on the other side.
Yeah.
And it does seem like we feel more sadness, we feel more like compassion for the people who are genuinely sad than people who are just like faking sadness. So this is like an interesting kind of like, he's trying to use his own kind of like emotional response to that.
That's so interesting. First, he caught that she was looking down, something you said.
Yeah.
And second, that's
Right.
I don't feel anything. Velko, you might be in the wrong career path. I think. Do you have any open hires needed?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. All right,
But
I might know the guy.
I'll let him know. Yeah, the other thing about, if you're paying attention to that looking down stuff, right, then it might be like interpreted as a sign that she's lying, right? He seems to be a little on the fence about what's going on here. We've already talked about that gaze aversion is not a good cue to deception, but it does seem like she's pretty embarrassed about, and I think she talked about, kind of being embarrassed about this story. And embarrassment is an emotion where we tend to look down and we avert our gaze. And so if we're using, that's the trouble with any behavioral cue to deception, is that it's not specific to deception. We can look down because we're trying to concentrate or something. We can look down because feeling nervous. We can look down because we're feeling embarrassed for a million different reasons, right? And so if we just interpret it as a sign of deception, then it can lead
Life
us
would be
astray.
so much easier if we could, right?
It would.
I think it's equally as interesting, though, to see what data points we could collect, rather than being like, this data point itself is the causation of something.
Yeah.
I think that is something I'm noticing right now of, it's interesting that you're pointing this out. Who knows what this could actually lead to? But the fact that you're noticing it is actually really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Like emotion or
Yeah.
sadness?
Yeah.
there's also the like added pressure of like camera attention.
That's something a liar would
like,
say.
It's like,
That's something
I feel
would say,
nothing.
What's your final answer?
I go. She's lying. But if you guys are going true, it's consensus true.
I think she's telling the truth. Okay. Annie, our team officially believes you are telling the truth.
I told y'all, motherfucker. I told you. There was no pain. There was no pain there.
Wow. Oh my, it's okay.
It's okay.
What? What? Wow. Wow. Wait, hold on. I'll take a seat.
So I think real quick, what was interesting is, and I would just sort of say these after each round. So I thought initially it was a truth, and I stuck with it.
Yeah.
Craig initially thought it was a truth, and he stuck with it. And Velko thought it was a lie. But again, consensus. We had to come in, and we went with the consensus was truth.
Okay.
Therefore, we didn't get points on this round.
Okay. I wish you had done not consensus. Like, I wish you had been like, okay, your truth, your lie. let's talk more about why we disagree on that. And you kind of started a little bit, but then you're just like, oh, 2 out of 3, right?
This round I think was quick. You'll see that happens a lot more. Okay. But actually I have tallied up what every individual thought.
Okay, love that.
And that is also an interesting story at the end.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
God,
wow.
You thought you...
Yeah, it's just...
Wait, stay there until...
The cuddle and the friend. It just sounds like a fake made-up story to me. Like
why does it
cuddle, the friend. I've heard this story before.
Because it happens.
It's like one of those like fake hot stories you read on the internet. You know, you're reading some like intimate stuff. Yeah. You want to get a little horny and you're just reading a little story on the internet. And it's like, we were at a sleepover and then her best friend touched me and we started making out. I didn't tell her.
What stories are you reading?
Just weird fucking stories on the internet, you know?
know about
when you go too far, you start reading weird things
right.
on the internet, man.
I feel like this might have happened to somebody that you know. So you can tell it very accurately, and you know how she felt, maybe.
Very smart.
You were completely cool?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Damn.
I thought I would notice more like...
She didn't fidget or anything.
Yeah, you're...
Was it no fidgeting? Is that what?
Yeah, I thought I think I said I would have. I thought I would notice more like head scratches or like, you know, clamminess, all that. But I guess I didn't at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, she seemed a little nervous at the start and was like taking her time. You know, she kind of like repeated the question. It's almost like give yourself a little bit of time to come up with your story. Yeah. But yeah, you know, the idea that fidgeting could be like a Pinocchio's nose. That's.
Yeah, I like that. There is no Pinocchio's nose.
Said I got weird delivery for all things. So like good luck trying to like get a pattern going.
To me, it was her justifying the cameras because I was trying to call her out. I'm like, I didn't feel anything. She was like, oh, but there's cameras, there's lights. I didn't think she needed to say that if it was true. That one really.
Because being down early is not good.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Well, this is hard.
Okay, this is hard. Okay, that's an interesting statement for her to make. So when we think about behavioral cues to deception, we've got several theories that help us to try to predict what those behaviors might be.
Okay.
And one of them is like emotional arousal. That's the one that people kind of focus on. Like, you know, people are going to be fidgeting, they're going to be nervous. That one is less reliable than cognitive load. That's basically just like mental strain. Like it takes more of your mental capacity to come up with a lie and tell a lie than it does to just like recall a memory and kind of spit it out. And so so it's interesting that she actually like verbalized that it, you know, kind of took a lot out of her to come up with this lie.
Interesting. So sorry, someone that is facing a lot of cognitive load, what happens to them? What does that theory say about that person?
Yeah, so we would predict that there would be a handful of things. So they would provide a less detailed story than someone who's not facing that level of cognitive load. They might engage in like longer pauses. They might repeat details instead of trying to come up with new ones. Yeah, they would struggle with additional questions. One question that I didn't hear answered was just like, can you tell me more about that? Which is just like the simplest little kind of like weapon question that you can have in your back pocket, which is like you don't even have to try to come up with like a super clever question. Yeah. But liars tend to struggle to just come up with more details. You know, you just got ask more. Yeah. Truth tellers tend to have an easier job doing that because they're like, oh, I didn't think you wanted to know about what the room looked like, but sure, I can tell you that, right? Because I can just pull it from my memory.
That's a lie. She's lying. That was the easiest thing she ever did. God damn it.
Okay.
Right. Oh my God.
Okay, so that was round number 1.
Okay.
The guys unsuccessfully predicted her answer. So its score is still 0-0. We only get a point when you correctly guess it. Any final thoughts of how Annie told her lie or how we went about detecting the lie?
You know, one of the strategies that people use whenever they're lying is that they base it on something true. And it sounds like she didn't have a whole experience and then just change one detail in there. But that whole experience was someone else's experience, right? And so she was pulling from somewhere. Yeah. And we call those like embedded lies. And that's one way to help reduce that cognitive strain because I can just pull from someone else's story. Maybe I'm even pulling from like a TV show or something that I've watched. And so I'm not just like making this up on the fly. So, that probably made the job a little bit easier for her.
And answers the question I had earlier of like, that should have been a simple answer. How did you, like, are you still friends with that person? To me, if I had to make up that answer on the spot, it would be nowhere as detailed as her answer of, oh, she was on the soccer team. I've known her for 2 years. We did this and this and this.
I probably would have tried to ask more questions about the conflict. Like, I felt like we got a little away from what the topic was, And so if the lie was supposed to be about this conflict or, confronting someone, we maybe should have stayed a little closer to that topic.
I do think looking back, we didn't ask the right questions. I think if we could have coached our own team, which you'll see, I think every round, all 6 of us got much better at this.
Yeah.
At just understanding each other better, which is really interesting.
I love that that's kind of like this arms race, like in real time, right? It's like, okay, we're figuring out what strategies work, what strategies don't. And then it's just like, you're almost seeing evolution happen over the course of the conversation.
It really is every round. We would take stuff from the previous rounds and go, okay, interesting.
Yeah, okay. I see you. All right.
Yeah. Okay, this is round number 2. Our friend Craig is going up on, we call it the hot couch because it's a couch we're sitting on.
All right, we're down 0-1. Craig, you got to bring it home.
I think I got this.
Got to tie the game here.
I got this.
Okay.
Tell us a story about when you've been peer pressured into something.
That one kind of sucks.
Look how intently they're staring.
I feel like she saw some over it.
Okay. So, when I was in middle school, a lot of my friends on the soccer team liked to, we would have a sleepover at one of my friends Sergey's houses, okay?
I like that he used a name.
Okay.
The detail, the like using someone's like proper name. Whereas in the earlier video, right, she never said any names. Okay, so this tends to be, and using first person pronouns as well, saying I, using other people's names, that tends to be associated with truth telling. Because it's like a very specific detail, as opposed to like saying me and my friends, right? Yeah, but what friends, right? It's almost like you're giving more detail, right? I wonder if the girls are like, he just seems like a very trustworthy person, right? So he's literally been randomly assigned to lie or tell the truth. So that is completely a not useful cue, right? But we do know that people who just like look trustworthy people tend to think that they're telling the truth more than people who like look kind of sketchy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's does that relate to something called the halo effect?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so more attractive people tend to think that they're more likely to be telling the truth. Yeah. Again, these effects are really small. They're just like a little bias in one direction. But just because, he just seems like a normal dude, right?
Midwest guy.
Yep.
Lives in Chicago. Just a good guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And when we would have these sleepovers, a lot of times we would sneak out and then use his parents' go-kart. It was like a go-kart that, not even a go-kart, it's like basically a golf cart, but it can go pretty fast. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Okay, so other things that are associated with truth are kind of unusual details. Liars, when they're coming up with a lie, we tend to keep it kind of simple and like follow a script of something, right? And so if you hear like, oh, like a really fast go-kart, like that's kind of weird, right? That would be hard to come up with kind of from scratch. Yeah, exactly. And admitting a lack of memory is also associated with telling the truth. Again, these things are like, small little cues, but
that's an interesting thing.
Because if I'm trying to make up a lie,
you look sketchy if you're like, I can't remember.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to completely make up a lie, you have to think in order for people to trust me, I have to fill in every detail. But almost admitting you're like, actually, I don't know.
People who are telling the truth also tend to have this kind of illusion of transparency. Like people will see right? That I am telling the truth here, and so I don't need to be quite as nervous about this. So, yeah, some potentials, things to be thinking about.
And his parents did not allow us to do that usually, but we would sneak out when they were asleep, and he had many acres in his backyard, so we would go do it, and we weren't supposed to. And then most of the time I wouldn't do it, actually. Like they'd done this like 2 times before, but we were at the sleepover, and I decided to sneak out with them, and we wrecked the go-kart, and it was actually me driving it, and I got in trouble for it.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. This is like, I wrecked the go-kart and it was me driving. That feels like very little information about like a very important part of this event. So that raises like a little red flag for me. So I hope that the girls ask questions about that particular topic.
Great
they
point.
seem skeptical to begin with.
So what was the peer pressuring like?
I would say the peer pressuring was, why would you not go out with us? No one's going to find out about it. We're far away from the house. You're not going to hear us. So the peer pressure was trying to get me to join them because I would usually just stay back.
Were you the only one that stayed back, or were there more people?
There was
that
one
stayed
other
back?
person that would stay back with
Did
me.
he go when you went that last time?
He did not.
Okay.
He did not.
And it wasn't loud, the go-kart?
No, not really. I mean, because they had their yard and their pool, and then all the way on the right side of their yard is where they would keep the like go-kart.
And you would like
Four-wheeler.
So he's giving these like spatial details. That tends to be also associated with truth telling. Like here I'm doing what's called, there's like a statement validity analysis, part of the content-based criteria analysis. And it's like all these different kind of verbal, or like you could even get them from a written statement, cues that tend to be associated with true statements as opposed to false ones. Again, no silver bullet, but I'm seeing like quite a few of them.
What was the wreck like? Describe
It was really dark, obviously, and we would go way too fast. That was a problem. I was going way too fast, trying to swerve between trees, and then next thing I know, I'm hitting a tree.
How do you think they got you to go? Well, like, were you peer pressured every time, or was this one like extra? They laid it on thick.
I think they just laid it on thick. I honestly probably wanted to go the other times, was just too scared, then finally just was like, okay, I'm gonna go do it. So.
Did you learn a lesson?
I did.
What was that lesson?
Don't wreck the go-kart.
How did you get in trouble? Like, what was that process like?
So actually, my friend took it on the chin and said that he crashed it. But I felt really bad because he got in trouble and he got grounded for it. So.
But you said that you got in big trouble.
I did. I got in trouble because I got him in trouble is a better way of putting it.
Okay. Interesting.
Nobody ever found out that it was.
Because you said that you got in big trouble.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good point.
he got in big trouble.
I
Something's not adding up.
That's fair. I never got in trouble from my parents.
So you never got in trouble?
Sure.
Well, you said you did get in big trouble.
I got him in
Greg?
trouble.
Okay.
I would say I got into trouble by hitting the tree.
Okay.
I didn't get punished, but I got in trouble when I hit the tree.
Yeah. Trouble with the tree?
Yes. Tree trouble.
He did say the lesson he learned was to not crash the go-kart. Not that like he like went against somebody. However, that was inconsistent.
I think it's a lie.
Based on
I think to quickly fabricate a story, it was just like a sleepover thought to another sleepover thought, and then you kind of build around it.
Thought?
Yeah. So we're kind of just like
so you
fabricating on. And it's a bit sensational. I don't know. I think it's like not really related to peer pressure as much. It might have happened. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
You. What do you guys feel though?
It feels like it's like a variation of a story. I don't know, I feel like it feels like a lie, I think. But it feels like there's like parts of it that you've extracted from your real life, but then like certain things that weren't fully fleshed out.
Like a go-kart crash probably did happen, but I don't know about the sneaking out of it. Just the logistics of the like coming like night, like loud, I don't know.
I think it could be true because I think when you think of like a peer pressured moment, you think back to like the earliest time that you felt that way maybe. And this one seems just like non-sensational enough to be like something that happened that you're still embarrassed about. But you did fib a little.
True.
How do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah. Did anyone get hurt?
No.
I think it might be true.
How wrecked was the go-kart?
When is the question again? I think it was. I do think it was.
That's a good fair point.
We'll wrap up the questions in like 30 seconds.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sounds like he's, he's nervous.
I think it was basically ruined. It was not used again, I don't think, which is why he got in trouble.
But no one got hurt. How did no one get hurt if it was total?
So she's thinking about like plausibility, right? How could you like total the go-kart and everyone is fine, right? So she's actually focusing on an idea that kind of makes a lot of sense, plausibility. Lies tend to be less plausible than the truth. But again, it's like all of these, so you've got cues that are going in both directions, right? And there's some cues that seem to suggest that he might be telling the truth. Other ones seem to suggest that he might be lying. And so, it's I think they are rightly having a difficult time with figuring out what's going on here.
You can only go so fast on a four-wheeler.
I don't know. I think it could be true. Really? I don't know why.
My gut's telling me it's a lie, but I actually. That's good.
Like a brother.
It's good data.
Sorry.
It's good data,
Yeah.
regardless.
I am on the fence. I'm like slightly leaning towards lie, but it could be true.
I kind of like the gamble. I'm gonna
Should we
trust
go
your
truth?
intuition, and then we can like recalibrate depending on that.
Okay.
You cool with that, or
Yeah,
how do you
yeah.
feel?
Let's do it.
No, don't stress about it. Because I'm sure I'm gonna do it too.
Yeah,
Like, there's no ringer.
I'm on the fence, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
Oh, but he's lying though.
You think?
I kind of feel like
Shit.
Someone's gotta say
It's alright.
something.
It's alright.
I think he was excited when you guys said that you were leaning lie.
Okay, cool. Then let's hit truth.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I don't know.
No, it's okay. We need none of us
Okay,
know.
okay.
That's the beautiful thing.
Let's take the risk. Okay.
Do you want to hit this?
We think it's true.
It was true.
Shoot.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh no.
Stay. Okay.
Oh.
We'll
What's
stay.
the overall thoughts now that you know the answer?
Wow. I'm curious. I mean,
I do think I saw a little reaction when both of you said that he was fibbing. Nice. He was almost like,
nice.
Okay, I don't know exactly what that facial expression is. Smug or something? But so there is a little bit of research by Katie DeCellis and her team out of the University of Toronto, which is fascinating. And it's about people's responses whenever they are accused of something. And people tend to believe that if you are like actually lying, if you actually did something wrong and you got accused of it, then you'll respond with anger. However, it's truth tellers, people who like didn't actually do that thing, who are more likely to express anger. So anger can kind of like damn the innocent. It can make them look guilty when they are accused of a thing that they actually didn't do. And I don't know that this is like, this seems more like a smugness or something. Because maybe she's thinking, the girls will get it wrong and then the boys won't be so far behind in the game.
That is such an interesting study.
Yeah, but it's interesting that she's looking for facial expressions here, and like
that was something I think was really interesting, and you'll see us use later on of like almost accuse and almost get your data after the story's been told and see how they're reacting.
Yeah.
Looking back on this experiment, probably one of the most revealing.
Okay, well, I look forward to seeing what people's actual reactions were to being accused. Yeah.
So this situation is really interesting because Annie originally thought it was a lie, and Anya originally thought it was a lie, and Hallie was the only one to think it was a truth, and she somehow convinced the consensus to go with her answer.
Yeah.
And they guessed truth.
I mean, from the conversation, it's not entirely clear, like, what she said that was, like, very convincing. I think both of the other girls were kind of, a little on the fence. I think one of them actually said that, and then they, tipped in that direction. But that is a really interesting comparison, right, to what the boys did, right, where they were like, best 2 out of 3, right, we're going with that. Whereas this seemed to be, I guess, it wasn't that simple heuristic that you guys used anyway, and it seemed to work out a little bit better for them. Yeah.
Got it.
I think.
So observant.
Beautiful.
That's a really good observation.
That is a good
Yeah,
observation.
that's really
That's
good.
really good.
I think I purposely tried to deliver it in a confusing way to make you think it was a lie. So
Manipulation.
It worked.
Yeah.
not good enough.
You're so right. You're too smart to be like brown and black. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, we're down. We're down. 1-0. Shoot.
God, we suck.
Okay, we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
Nice.
1-0.
Wow.
We can gain it back here.
Okay. Any thoughts after round number 2?
It was just really interesting to see the different strategies that the boys and girls used to come to a single answer. And it makes me want to do a study now on actually analyzing the conversation and whether people kind of go with the consensus or go with something else.
It's that aspect will get really interesting later on.
Okay.
Yeah. That's probably the most interesting thing I took away from this game show. That conversation between the teams and to see who flipped, who stayed, who just had this like gut feeling. I guess like that gut feeling or that intuition is a really interesting topic, and I'm curious if there's any research on that or what you have to say when it comes about. Round number 3.
Okay.
Going back to the girls.
All right, Anya, round number 3.
Okay. Okay, tell us about a time you got scammed or almost got scammed. Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, wow. Oh, she's going for it.
Ready.
Ready.
Oh.
You got the story. Yeah.
No,
That's right. Okay. Okay.
Wow, the silence is crazy.
I know, wait. I need to regulate my breathing.
We're on to
Kind of,
you.
like freaky, like my heart rate is up and I
Yes.
don't know if it's a lie or a truth yet. Okay.
Okay, so that's an interesting point, right? Where she's in the hot seat on the hot couch, right? And she is like, experiencing that physiological reaction, which would be associated with stress, right? Before she even knows whether she needs to lie or tell the truth, right? So this is actually one of the reasons why, like the polygraph, right, can be pretty unreliable, because you're just nervous to begin with, perhaps, that you're being questioned about this particular crime or whatever. Like, it doesn't even really matter whether you're lying or telling the truth. In some cases, you're just like, oh my God, I'm scared that that they're going to think I'm lying even though I'm not. I'm scared that I'm a suspect in this case. I'm just scared that I'm, up in front of people telling a story and all eyes are on me, right? And so that's a problem with these kind of like nervousness cues, is that they're not specific to deception.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to tell you about a time that I almost got scammed. It's not super, super interesting, but basically when I was about to turn 26 and I'm self-employed, I had to get my own health insurance. And that process, if you guys know, it's like really stressful. At least I had no idea what I was doing, and it was like really overwhelming. And so it seemed like no one seemed to know how to do it either. I was asking a ton of people. People either they're like, oh, I don't even have health insurance, or like, I just use my partner. I don't know, something like that. So I was like kind of desperate online, and I was going on these websites like looking for health insurance, and there was one that like seemed decent. I didn't really know what I was looking for, so I called the number. I called a few different numbers, whatever, nothing was working, and then I got a call from a number, and it sounded like a great deal because all these other health insurances were like $500, $600, $700 a month. If you guys know, I was like, oh my God, I refuse to pay that. And then someone called me and they were saying that they were returning my call from like Blue Cross Blue Shield, and that they could get me a plan for like $100 a month. And I just didn't have anything to really compare it to. And I was like, really like, okay, that sounds good. But like as the call kept.
So one of the things, again, this is going back to that, content-based criteria analysis. One of the things that she's doing that does tend to be associated with telling the truth is that she is kind of verbatim quoting people, including herself. Like, these are the things I said. Yeah. Instead of saying, oh, I explained to them what I needed or whatever, she would say, like, I said, this is what I need out of a healthcare plan. So it's more like using a quote, like these are the literal words I actually said, as opposed to kind of a summary of things.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a very specific recalling of that. Mm-hmm. And that's so hard to make up.
Yeah. One other thing, she's doing a lot of hand gestures, right? At least with the one hand. It's so hard because I do these physiological studies too, and the data is just crap if people are moving. Okay. So you have to get them to keep their hands still, which means that you only get one half of their hand gestures, right? But she is using quite a few hand gestures here. That people who are telling the truth tend to use more hand gestures than those who are lying. A couple potential different reasons for this. One is just that, we're thinking so hard about coming up with that lie that the hand gestures kind of fall by the wayside. Alternatively, people might be trying to like not come across as fidgety. Mm-hmm. And so that also depresses their hand movement.
They're almost like too aware of it.
Exactly. They're attempting to like control their behavior to look honest. Yeah. And by doing that, by trying to like avoid looking fidgety, they also avoid using these hand gestures. So
is that a better, I know you said the gaze aversion is almost like very unreliable, but is the idea of fidget or hand gestures?
Yeah, we call them illustrators, like hand gestures that illustrate what you're talking about. It's better than gaze aversion.
Okay.
It's not as good as some of the verbal cues they'll use, but it's it's there.
Okay.
There's like something kind of fishy feeling about this call, or he's kind of like pressuring me a little bit, and I started to ask more questions and be like, wait, could you remind me like where you're calling from? And I was like reverse searching the number as I was on the phone with him. It was this long phone call. And then as I was on the phone with him, like 40 minutes deep or something, okay, maybe not 40 minutes, I started to like see these Reddit threads that were like, this is a scam.
So those spontaneous corrections again, where you're like 40 minutes, okay, maybe not 40 minutes, right? Again, another thing that liars are less likely to do because they're like, oh, well, that's going to make me look inconsistent and sketchy. But,
wow. These are so interesting because it's like, I think it's things that once you verbalize it to me, it makes so much sense. Like I would have never thought that's a cue, but it is probably, I'm like subconsciously receiving these notes as I'm listening to this.
Yeah. Scam, oh my God, never go with them. They're trying to get your information, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I forgot to mention, I had already given him, this is embarrassing. This is really embarrassing. I know, it's really embarrassing. I had already given him my card number or something. Basically, on the phone immediately, I like start to clam up and I go on my Chase app and I cancel my card immediately as I'm on the phone with him because I feel like such an idiot that I gave him my card number and I was like, actually, I'm so sorry, this is not gonna work. And he started to get almost like mad at me, like, what do you mean? And I was like, okay, this is a scam, I'm so sorry. And I hung up.
That feels like such a truthful story. I mean, if she's lying and...
I don't think she's like dumb enough to do that.
That's a compliment.
No. You got to say shit like that to see how they react.
I'm telling you, I think like if there's an open positioning for the research lab, Velko's your guy.
He's doing really interesting things in his questioning, I will say.
So
that's a growing strategy.
Bait the reactions.
That's such a believable story.
Okay. A couple observations from my end. One is she immediately knew what story she wanted to tell.
Agreed.
When she pulled the prompt.
Yes, and she laughed beforehand of like, oh, here comes this embarrassing story I have to tell.
So that's like reassuring.
I think it's a true story.
Okay. Second though, story felt rushed. I don't know if you felt that. Story felt like we're just getting through it.
But then in my mind, it's harder to fake a story if you're going quick.
Yeah, it's like you know where you've gone to the same place a few times.
Got it. That was like a story that she must have told over dinner. So
Yeah, but then again, I don't think she's dumb enough to do something like that. Imagine giving some random guy. Did he have an accent?
We can cross-examine. Go ahead.
No, what do you sound like on the phone? Can you do the voice?
Hello. I'm here to talk about your health insurance.
No way. Sounded like she's fucking lying. She's lying. I talked to a lot of scammers, dude. Not a single one. Bro, that is the critical. You just got the piece of evidence. We've all gotten scam calls.
No, I think
as much as you hate to admit it.
I think it's true.
That's a lie. I never had a guy sound like Craig Holding, ever.
It sounds like Craig.
We're keeping it in.
When in the call did they ask for your credit card number?
It was like 30 minutes in or something, and it was through it wasn't like I was like directly giving him my card. It was through a portal.
Did he have you go on a website or something?
No, portal fucking opened up.
Yeah, it's through a portal.
She just
Well, the reason I ask is, was it on like the Blue Cross Blue Shield website? Oh. That's why I'm asking.
It was like a secondary type of site.
Did he send you like an email with a link, or did you like go to www.whatever?
I went to like the link like that was told.
Okay. Like you typed in a link?
Yeah.
Okay.
He told you a link?
He told you a link and you went there.
How did
what was the link?
What was the, yeah, what, do you remember?
Can you and then
and
the
say
voice.
it? Yeah.
I don't remember the link, but it was like some sort of secondary like version of like, Blue Cross Blue Shield. So it's like
Okay, this is funny, but one of the things I like about this particular question is that you're getting a very verifiable detail. If she was able to answer, right? If you're like, oh, what was the link? If she remembered, you could literally pull up your phone, go there, and if she was lying, like there's almost no chance that she would know this like sketchy website, right? So looking for verifiable details can be a really good way. It's like you kind of do that little follow-up work. And similarly, like with other stories, if you knew, one of the friends that was supposedly there, you could, kind of back channel with them and be like, hey, did this happen? Or tell me about it.
That makes sense, yeah.
Tell me about the time you crossed the go-kart or whatever like that, right? So
that's a good point.
Usually, in this scenario, right, we're trying to detect deception in the moment with just this conversation.
And I think our strategy here was like, could we find a detail and then just go just ask as many specifics about it and see if there's any inconsistencies. I think we discussed that right before, and this was the detail we're trying to. We had both teams are now strategizing after the first 2 rounds. Yeah. And ours was, well, we both went. We did not ask us enough questions for the first round, so we need to ask more questions. Yeah. And then our goal was like, can we specifically just find something? And I think we all sense like she doesn't remember this link. That's kind of interesting. So how did she navigate this? Yeah. And so we could tell that she was sort of fighting something in her own head. And I think it's almost like reading between the lines of what she was saying that we thought we could kind of catch if she's decepting us.
And your brain was like, this is just a secondary link. This is not their normal website. This is just a secondary website.
Okay, it maybe wasn't exactly Blue Cross Blue Shield. It was like one that like partners with them or something.
Okay, that's
You think she's reverse psychologying us?
I think she's telling the truth. I think it's a true story.
You think it's a lie?
I think so. I really don't think she's dumb enough to give some guy her credit card.
I'm gonna go lie.
You think lie?
I'm gonna go lie.
It's so hard to tell.
She's going truth. I'm going lie. You're the tiebreaker.
I don't like that.
You've been confident both times with.
I've never been confident once in my life. Okay. I don't know, dude.
Go for it. Trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
I don't have a gut, bro.
My energy then.
Feel your energy. Convince me. She's telling the truth, Gypsy. All right, it's true.
What?
It's true.
We officially think it's true?
It's true.
We officially think your story is the truth.
Okay, it was true.
Yes! Yes! Come on! Oh my goodness.
So good.
Oh my goodness.
That was good.
Wow. Oh.
Thanks, guys.
Oh. Wow, good job, Anya. Wow.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh. Okay, something interesting there is Craig thought it was the truth the entire time. I actually begin this entire deliberation with like, this has to be the truth. She rushed through her story, she picked it up, and like she immediately knew. And then I was convinced by Velko to think it was a lie, and then the consensus all brought us back to the truth. But Velko from the start just thought it was a lie. So that was sort of the anatomy of that discussion.
So you had, in your group, you had one person who consistently thought it was the truth. One person consistently thought it was a lie, and you're vacillating. Yeah. Why did you change your thought?
Ooh. Because I looking back at that footage, I'm like, why did I ever think it was a lie? Which is like a weird, like I'm shocked with my behaviors right there. Yeah. Because I listened to it, and even hearing my explanation of like she rushed through that story, or even more so like she pulled a card, she immediately knew what she wanted to think. I was pretty dead set on truth. I cannot tell you at this moment how Velko convinced me it was a lie. I think he just seemed he just seemed so reassuring about it.
Yeah, he was confident. Yeah. Right. And so what's interesting about confidence and lie detection is that they are unrelated. So we tend to believe people who are very confident. We confuse people who are confident with people who are competent, so that we think like, oh, if they look like, they're expressing that they're really good at this task, they must be. But there's actually no relationship between
how confident you feel about an answer and how accurate you are.
Yeah.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually like mind-bending to think.
It's a little.
So that's almost like intuition, because isn't the whole point of like your intuition showing that you're confident about something? And so when people are like, trust your gut, isn't saying this almost like, hey, your gut is as uncorrelated with like detecting a lie as anything?
Yeah, gut's not particularly it's unclear really what people mean by gut, right? It's just maybe like their first impression or something. But you could have a gut reaction, but also and I think one of the girls was like, oh, my gut says this, but I'm not really sure, right? So like those can be different things too. So but we don't find that quick responses are correlated with accuracy. Yeah. There's actually a little bit of research to suggest that if you take some time, so like you watch the video, you kind of like go away, do some other stuff, kind of percolate on it, if you will, then you come back and you make your decision, you might come to more accurate conclusions than if you're just like, boom, make that decision right away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's round number 4. The score is tied 1-1. Velko is in the hot couch. Before this, though, I saw Annie passing some notes to her teammates. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Annie, do you know something that we don't? Okay.
I don't like that either.
She's the greatest of all time. She really is the greatest of all time. Darn it. Shoot, we should have redone teams. Okay.
Soon to say.
Velko, whenever you're ready, pull a prompt.
I go with these two. Fuck it. Tell us a story of when you bullied or got bullied by someone.
This is good. This is good. That's a good one. You bully me all the time. I know you got something.
Tell us a story of when. Ooh. Okay. Okay. I think I might have something there.
Okay.
All right. Good shit. Good shit.
All right.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I don't like that one. Hell yeah.
Don't read that one out loud. Just want to make sure you know.
I'm about to rip it. Alrighty. Fuck it. Tell us a story of when you bullied or got bullied by someone. Okay. I'm gonna think about this for a little bit. Go to my safe space.
I know you study micro expressions, but this seems like a macro expression.
Well, he's an expressive individual. I think, so one of the things immediately was like, he pulled a card, he looked at it. It seemed like he had an idea in his head, and then when he pulled the other card, it was like, then he took more time. Yeah. So like, I'm immediately a little suspicious. It seems like he needed additional time to think of a story. But he's a character, and he's trying to
purposely mislead.
Yeah. So maybe also you can get all in your head about this, right?
It's that.
It can start to seem like he might be purposefully trying to look like a liar.
Yeah.
God, these are good memories, dude. Okay. All right, I'm ready. What do I do with this?
Just nothing. Just keep your hands up here.
Okay, this takes place in middle school, I believe it was. I would ride the bus to school every day, and there was this girl on my bus. Her name was Dominique, and I would sit like near the back of the bus, and she would walk on the bus every day. And first thing she would do was just smack the shit out of me. And she'd be like, "Sup, Velcro," and just smack the shit out of me. And I would giggle, and I think like I liked it a little bit because it was early in the morning. It would just kind of wake me up a little bit. And I was like, fuck yeah, like Dominique's coming on the bus, she's gonna smack the shit out of me. Sometimes she wouldn't come, sometimes she'd be late, wouldn't even show up. But this happened maybe 50, 60, 70 consecutive days. And one day, I forget if we missed the bus. Something happened, but I believe we both missed the bus. So we walked home, and we kind of like became friends in that walk. And she was like, "You know what, like, you all right?" And like, I went to her house, or it was actually an apartment. There were condominiums. And I literally had dinner with her. I had dinner with Dominique, and her mom was sweet, and the food was good. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, Dominique's never gonna smack me again. And the next day, smacks the shit out of me. Maybe the worst she's ever smacked me. She had these long nails. I remember this so vividly. I had literal marks just right here from her smack. And yeah.
She smacks the back of your head, or your
No,
face?
right in the front. Okay. She's walking in on the bus in the morning.
Wow. That's who hurt him. It was Dominique.
What color's her hair?
She had like braids sometimes, but sometimes like it was just brown.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think you're lying.
Okay.
I think you had a story, and then you were really excited to tell it. And then when you picked up a card and you had to tell a lie, you had to come up with a fake story.
Okay.
What was the shift from a smack every day to dinner?
We missed the bus.
But I'm confused
Is
because
that right?
you
Yeah.
were always on the bus first, and then she comes in. So
That's correct.
how does
We pick her up after.
But you both missed the bus, so how are you walking?
We
home
missed the
together?
bus like going home because you take the bus to school and home.
Oh, I see. On the way home.
Yeah.
You lived in the same condominium.
No, I lived right here, and then she lived right here.
Did she ever say anything after she smacked you, or was it always on the face?
It was kind of always on the face. Sometimes I would duck, sometimes I'd be like, because she'd be coming in, but it was a fun. It was like a good time,
Yeah. You
Yeah.
like being smacked.
I don't like being smacked, but when you know it's coming and she's happy, it's a good start to her day. It's
Yeah.
a weird start to my day, but.
What was her mom like?
She was she was honestly older. She was a nice older woman. Looked nothing like her.
Was this your first story you were gonna tell?
What do you mean, first story?
When you were thinking of memories, was that?
There was a kid, I was he was weird, and then I threw him in sand once, but it was either I bullied someone or I got bullied. So I was I don't really have anything with that guy,
You're
he turned
telling
out
the
okay.
truth. I just wanted to see how he'd react.
So Hallie thinks it's a lie. Annie thinks it's the truth.
I don't think it's true.
Ask your question.
I don't have any more.
Shit.
She never gave an explanation for why she was hit. You guys never addressed the
I
smacking?
was I don't know how to say this delicately.
Oh.
I still don't know how to say this delicately.
Don't say it delicately.
So I'm an immigrant. All my friends were always either Mexican or black kids, and this was common. Like, it would always start with like a little bit of bullying, and then we'd become friends. There was this other girl, Dominique, she would kind of do the same thing. Like, she sat behind me, she would just like flick my head all the time, and then we became friends.
The same name?
No, actually, I got that wrong. I promise you got that wrong. Her name was Diamond. I promise you her name was Diamond. I did.
I also was kind of feeling more about a lie. I kind of wanted to see his reaction to truth, and I didn't really feel much.
When you said that he was telling the truth?
Yeah.
What does that make you feel?
I don't know why I fucked that up. Her name was actually Diamond.
You're lying.
Here's the thing about our friend Velcro, is that I really wish I knew what how he acted or how he acts outside. Like, I wish I had a baseline. I wish I knew because I kind of get the sense that this is his persona.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard to get a sense of like, oh, is he kind of deviating from how he normally acts? Or is this kind of just who he is?
Good question. This is Velko.
Yeah.
You know, that's the type of guy he is. Even the way that he's telling stories, I'm like, I think he does think of stories in bits. You know, and he's always, I think that's part of his trait of being a comedian. Like, whenever he's always practicing, you know, bits with people, and even if there's cameras, no cameras. So I do think he's a bit of a storyteller. But this is pretty accurately him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, he seems a little more like relaxed in front of the group, but I get the sense that he likes to be, you know, kind of the center of attention, right? So we shouldn't take that as any evidence that like he might be telling the truth, or like that lack of nervousness is like not something that we should be really relying on too heavily anyway. But I get the sense that he's
relaxed right now.
He seemed I get the sense he's pretty relaxed.
What did you think of that? Is it called a Freudian slip or something? Dominique versus Diamond.
Yeah, he made that error. He didn't seem particularly flustered whenever that was pointed out to him. You know, it's kind of like, it's a little tricky, right? Because it's like, whenever there's spontaneously corrected errors, that is a cue that tends to be associated with truth. He didn't correct himself, someone else corrected him. So that could be seen as like a slip up or something, you know. It's also completely possible that someone could just, you know, make a mistake and not even notice it.
We need an official. We need like us three believe you're officially.
What do you think?
You're telling the truth?
It feels like a version, I feel like kind of what you were saying, where it feels like it was a story that he had originally, but then he kind of pivoted to make it a lie.
What's your gut?
Oh, it's hard. I feel like it's a lie. I don't know.
What do you feel?
I don't want to be, I feel overly confident, so I can't like base my, you know, I will not change my mind. But that doesn't mean that he's lying. I just think he was so excited to tell a story when he read the prompt. And then he had to think for like almost a minute about a story. So maybe he knew.
Wait, your thought is that it's a truth or a lie? Sorry, I forgot.
I think it's a lie. But he could have been thinking of a lie and then opened the card and had to tell the truth.
So so what's your answer? So what's the final answer?
I think you think it's true.
I do, but
I am a little torn, but I kind of feel like it's a lie.
Let's say lie.
What, and you think it's a lie?
Yeah, I think it's a lie.
Okay.
Wait, we need an official.
We think it's a lie.
It's a lie.
Oh my god, amazing!
Let's go.
So I think because we had brought that up earlier, right? Where like it took him a really long time to just like start the story, which seemed like a red flag, right? And that's associated with that cognitive load piece that we talked about.
Oh,
like
he's shut down.
It's like, okay, I need to come up with something that's going to take a little bit of time, right? So there's like a literal pause in there. I think the trouble with this game, right, is that he is not necessarily trying to appear truthful.
Yeah.
And so you can get all in your head, like the girls were getting, like maybe he was trying to look, you know, he's just trying to dupe or like confuse them so that they get it wrong, not necessarily that they believe him. Totally. But I think that was a great, you know, kind of catch on her part. And I also love that she was like, I'm really confident, so you kind of can't trust me. Like she was not trusting her own confidence. She wasn't going to change her mind, but kind of like we talked about earlier, that confidence is actually not correlated with accuracy. So she kind of trying to like separate these things.
She's almost self-aware of that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something about very evolutionary about lying in just general society, but this game is interesting because each round feels like we have to take what we learned in the other round and then either add to it or be conscious of it and then try to flip what the other team is thinking. Well, what was that again? That it's like
it's a evolutionary arms race. It's like the liar gets pretty good, right? And so then the lie tellers need to come up with more strategies to like improve on that, and then you know you kind of keep changing up your strategy to keep duping the other party.
And then how does that apply to like society at large?
Well, I mean, how far back do you want to go? So like there's some evolutionary theories which would suggest that the reason we have these big brains, this big like frontal cortex, is because social interactions are really complicated and difficult, and we're trying to lie to each other and then tell each other's lies. And we've established all this like brain capacity precisely for like this game, right?
Oh, wow.
So you can see that arms race kind of playing out at different time scales, I would say. So like you can see it playing out in this game. You can also see it playing out in an individual conversation. Like if you're lying to me and you're like, oh, I think she's getting suspicious because I start going like this or something, then you might change up your tactic, you know, start trying to come up with more detail instead of keeping to a simple story or something. You can also see it over like a developmental life cycle. Like kids tend to be pretty bad at lying, right? When they're little, you know, they'll steal a bunch of cookies from the cookie jar and they got like, crumbs all over their face and they're like, no, I didn't take it. And they got sprinkles all over themselves.
This is an interesting piece of dialogue before we get into the other round as well.
Well, we were talking about how women were kind of built for lie detection because we're in a lot more situations where we have to tell whether or not someone's telling the truth or a lie, and it's usually with men. So this seems like we have an upper hand, just like in our biology.
I agree.
You two agree?
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. 100%. We know everything.
A lot of my female friendships too, our communication is like incredibly subtle with gestures.
Yeah, that's
so
what
you
I
have
was
to
gonna
really
say.
pick up on a lot.
I think girls lie to each other more than guys lie to girls. Like in friendships, like, oh, you look great in that. Like you might actually like it. Like girls are always like complimenting each other about stuff that's not always true.
It's a finely tuned instrument for
like
social.
if I don't like
grace.
Tejas and I'm mad at him, I would just tell him. A girl might be really nice, but then like tell her friends like, oh my gosh, Becky sucks.
Yeah, and then you feel that subtlety.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
And
wouldn't
this is
pick up on that.
socialization over biology too.
True.
That's very fair.
True.
And biology.
Okay, so many things I want to say.
I'd love to hear.
Okay, so we do find that, so there's been lots of research on gender differences in empathy tests. And by empathy tests, usually what we're giving people is like an emotion recognition task. Like, look at this facial expression, what emotion are they presenting? And there we do find that women tend to do a little bit better than men, pretty consistently. It seems to be more of a socialization effect than a biology kind of thing.
What does that mean?
Well, it's more like it's more nurture versus nature. So like if you actually give men like an incentive to like do really well in this task, they can do better.
Yeah.
So it's not like women are just like genetically equipped with this ability, although it seems like, you know, perhaps to some extent women are thought to like they should be better at this task, and presumed to be more caring and in tune with emotions. And so they do a little bit better than men on these emotion recognition tasks. Deception, we don't have strong evidence that there's big gender differences, mostly because everyone is pretty terrible at these tasks. So if we give people a test, this is how we usually test whether, how good you are at detecting deception. I'll have these videos, not completely unlike the ones you're showing me, right? Some of which will include people telling a lie, some of which telling the truth. And I just say, watch each one and tell me who's lying and who's telling the truth.
Wow. And they don't have a control or anything of any person. It's similar to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So generally you just see one person once. Do you want to guess what the average accuracy is for people?
55%, or women get it right 55%, men get it right 45%.
It's just like overall 54% accuracy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, across men and women, no big gender differences to speak of. So that is slightly above chance, but like not very impressively.
No,
so you're more or less flipping a coin.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, we don't find big gender effects on deception detection tasks specifically, probably because everyone's just really bad at it. Everyone's pretty much flipping a coin.
So men are equally as built for lies as women are in this.
I think so. I mean, it's just a part of like human interaction in all kinds of different scenarios, and including, in kind of sexual relationships, romantic relationships, but all kinds of communication. Yeah.
Wow. Round number 5.
All right.
It's 2-1.
Yeah. All right. So this is the boys' last chance.
This is the boys' last chance.
All right.
Hallie Burns,
Yes.
take a card.
Okay. Okay. What's the most embarrassing thing you've done in an attempt to look attractive?
Right for it.
She's ready.
She's a
What,
fucking-
you know?
She practiced, dude. She said she practiced.
When I was younger, maybe in like 5th or 6th grade, I lived with my cousin, and she was very fashion forward. Like, she loved to dye her hair. I remember Rihanna had this like really iconic haircut where it was half blonde, and she would like do crazy stuff like that. She also worked in the restaurant industry, so she had a lot of time with me during the day. So when I would come home from school, we would be pretty experimental with like hair. And I also really loved this show, and one of the actresses in the show had a pixie cut, and I thought it was really cute. So meanwhile, this is like 4th or 5th grade, so everyone just has like, regular hair. I feel like no one was being very experimental. However, she cut my hair in our living room and gave me a pixie, and I was excited about it because I would look like this actress. But then, I was proven wrong, because one time I was in a car with my dad, and we were pulling up to a gas station, and this old couple comes up to us and says, "You have such a beautiful son." And so I feel like the haircut seemed really good, but maybe didn't look that attractive on me at the time. Or maybe the world wasn't ready for it or something. Pixies are back. Pixies are back.
They're so bad.
But maybe not at the time.
It's so back.
And that is it.
What do you think, Annie?
Annie, what are you feeling, Annie? You guys are screwed. We're so screwed.
I told you, dude. We had no chance to begin with.
We have no
We need to
chance.
just flip a coin. Just flip a coin.
I was like, she's not even tapping any fingers. It's so calm. The story just flowed. Just enough detail, not too detailed. She didn't try to make anything seem more cemented than it needed to be.
Okay, that's the interest. Okay, so you're she seemed really calm. So we've gotten rid of these nervousness is not a great. It's a little, but it shouldn't be the thing that you hang your hat on. The detail one is really interesting. So Sometimes I'll post on, Instagram or whatever, a video about like, these are the cues that are associated with deception. And people hate it when I say that lies are associated with less detail. They're like, no, liars always tell me way more detail. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I've got literal thousands of studies that say the opposite thing. And I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. But yeah, especially in this context where like she doesn't have a lot of time to come up with this, if it was a lie, you would definitely expect it to be low levels of detail, as opposed to like, I think some people think, oh, you go into all kinds of detail, that's a red flag because you're trying to like convince me too hard or something. At least on average, we have no evidence that is a thing.
that low detail is correlated with lies.
Low detail is correlated with lies.
Oh, it is correlated. Got it.
So sometimes people will be like, she doth protest too much, right? She's like talking too much. She's giving me too much detail, and that's a red flag. We really don't have evidence that is the case.
So, sorry, just to be clear, there is evidence that a low amount of detail is correlated with lies, but a excess of detail isn't correlated with lying.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're staring
at
her.
I'm looking at her.
I don't know. We're looking at her, man.
Keep talking.
We're trying to understand her.
It sounds real. I'm so lost. I'm lost.
I'm trying to read her as you're talking. And I honestly...
Okay, we can cross-examine. Hold on, first of all, you said Rihanna's hair was half blonde at the time.
Yeah.
But you got a pixie cut. What is a pixie cut?
A pixie cut is like your haircut.
It's just a bad haircut. It's just a bad idea.
I don't know what a pixie cut is.
It's basically mine.
Okay.
Like a little shorter maybe right here.
Got it.
But yeah, very short haircut. Yeah.
They're in.
It's a bad idea, man.
She's lying. She has to be lying. She has to be. Okay.
She got a mole.
No.
What is what is Rihanna's role in this story?
I was just describing my cousin who was experimental with hair.
What grade was this?
Probably 5th grade.
You were trying to look attractive in 5th grade?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Okay, first of all, what do we think of? She immediately knew the story. She immediately knew the story, pulled the card, immediately told it.
Yeah.
That favors truth and a truth.
Truth and a truth?
No, that favors...
You made this game.
That favors, she had a story, she pulled truth, she just went for it.
Okay.
If there's any moment of like hesitation in there, you would assume some thinking of a lie.
You have any photos of that haircut? You don't have to show us, just do you have photos? Did you take photos of that haircut?
Well, I was in pictures, yes.
Did you take photos?
I didn't have a phone at that time, I don't think.
No cameras? How you were born when?
2001.
Okay, so you would have been like, this would have been like 2014?
No. She would have been 13.
No.
Let her figure this out.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Well, I know I was in elementary school.
Okay. Okay, so like 2009.
Yeah.
2010.
That feels right.
2011.
Well, I think we moved in like 2011.
So pre-2011.
Was it just you and your dad?
Yeah, it was just me and my dad.
Interesting.
Did you have a fade?
No. Or I didn't have a mullet either. Just a pixie.
Beautiful boy. Let's imagine her as a beautiful boy.
Okay, that is like that's one thing I wanted to pick up on. It's just like the plausibility of someone saying you have a beautiful boy. It's just kind of like a weird statement, but
yeah, I agree with that.
Unusual detail. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which favors truth.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it would be like this.
That's a strong young man right there. She might be telling the truth. She might be telling the truth. I'm gonna sign him up for
I'm
football.
locking my answer.
What's your answer? Whoa.
He's been
wrong every time.
Yeah, so I think he's...
Yeah, I think he's right. It's true.
True.
It's true?
Wait. True!
Are we sure?
True.
Fuck it.
What?
True.
He's so due. He's so...
We're due. I'm due for a win.
Yes, true.
Hallie, we officially think your story is the truth.
It is true.
Yes!
Come on!
Yes!
Come on!
Yes!
We're not dead yet.
Oh
Clutch,
my
clutch.
god! Oh my god! Wow!
Good job.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness! Any observation? Any points you want to make?
Yeah, your point was very true. Like when I opened this card, I was like, oh, I can definitely say that. I hope I get true. Because if I get a lie, I won't have anything to say. Which is, I think, what I looked for when Velko did his thing, because he kept thinking.
That's exactly right. So we talked about that last time, where like he took a long time to start thinking. Just kind of like gave himself some literal space to think about what the hell am I gonna say, right? And whereas she was able to just jump right in, because the truth, at least when we're talking about, you know, recalling instances from the past, it's just a memory. So you just recall it, you spit it out, whereas the lies need to be constructed over time. And that's much more difficult because you don't have a story to start from. You're also trying to, you know, make it sound convincing. You're also trying to not contradict what they might know about you. It sounds like you don't know a ton about each other anyway. But if people knew, you know, even little things like where you grew up, right? You grew up on the East Coast versus the West Coast. Like, you don't want to just step in it by saying you were in California when they know you were in Boston, right? So lies are just harder. They just take more time. They take more of those mental resources. And sometimes you can see that in literally how quickly people
just pull
jump
and
in.
want to go.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'll bring up the conversation here of micro expressions. Is there, in what you've seen about 5 rounds of people, is there anything you've noticed in that field? If not, we can also bring that conversation at the very end.
I would have to go back and, okay, so whenever we study micro expressions, I don't do it like this. Like, I will go to a video and I will sit down for a very long time. And I will hit this little like frame by frame button forward over and over and over again. So I'm going through frame by frame, and I'm just looking at like their upper face, and I'm ignoring the bottom of their face. And I'm looking for like, you know, when does that muscle move and when does it kind of like go snap back into place, essentially.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's micro.
It's micro. So like the definition of a micro expression is a 1/5 to 1/25 of a second expression of emotion on a person's face. And it is like presumed, at least theorized, to like be revealing your like true underlying emotion before you're able to suppress it, right?
Wow.
Now, it's not a great cue to deception.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh.
No. So this is what I...
Oh, okay. Okay, so let's have this conversation here because I'm curious. So what is the role of micro expressions then?
The role of micro expressions is like a really cool idea that doesn't pan out that great, I think. Is like, so this is what I was doing for my undergraduate honors thesis, is like I was tasked with like get a whole bunch of videos of micro expressions so that we can like put it into our training and teach people to detect them. I was like, super easy. What I did was I had these really emotional pictures and I would flash them up on the screen, and some of them were, say, like really disgusting, right? But I would be like, okay, I need you to smile in response to all these pictures that come up on the screen. So some of them would be like, you are smiling even though you feel super grossed out by what you're seeing. And we were like, micro expressions should be all over the place. We did not find very many micro expressions at all for a few different reasons. One is that the expressions, if your face like leaked your an emotion other than what you were trying to portray, it tended to be longer than that. So it was kind of like you would be like,
and then smile.
So either it was like very obvious and not therefore micro. It wasn't like 1/5 to 1/25 of a second. That's very short. Or it was just like, you know, in lies, kind of, we don't really know what to do with this. So we would see, you know, someone's telling a sad story, and they maybe smile a little bit, and we're like, okay, that seems inappropriate for this context, but like, who knows? Like maybe they're thinking of like a happy moment with this person who has passed away. Maybe they're nervous and that's what's leaking onto their face. So the expressions are fascinating, that they kind of like come on and go off relatively quickly, not as quickly as a micro expression. But even if you see an emotion, we don't know where it came from. We don't know the reason that you're experiencing it.
So micro expressions do exist, but their role in lie deception detecting, we don't know how.
They're like another one of those cues, like nervousness, that
It's
like
just a data point.
It's a single data point, and it's not the most reliable data point.
Then why even go frame by frame and put in that effort in these videos?
Look, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Well, because we didn't know that at the time.
So
I like.
Yeah, you did this study to give us this conclusion.
Yeah,
Got it.
exactly. So discovery, I suppose.
So it's not used really in like studying lie detection today, microexpressions?
Not really. It's not. So there was this SPOT program. It was what it was called. The TSA adopted this program. It's kind of a pilot program in the early 2000s, I think it was, and they were trained in how to detect microexpressions, and that was supposed to improve their ability to detect lies, passengers going through security. And then they ran some tests like with people, who had, things on them that they shouldn't have had. And it really didn't improve TSA agents' ability to do that. But honestly, the TSA agents were kind of set up like to fail, really. If you just like scanning a crowd of travelers looking for a micro expression, like you've got, could be, they could be expressing an emotion for a billion different reasons. They're nervous about flying. They're late for this flight, their kids are pissing them off, whatever the case may be. And it's just like, if you see anger flash on their face, doesn't necessarily mean they're like a terrorist or something. Okay, I think there's one last contestant in this game. I think I know that person.
I think you do, which actually, I was going to say, we basically...
Perhaps an advantage.
Yeah, I'm curious what you would know, because I heard you say earlier with Velko, you said, I don't really know what Velko's like in his day-to-day, therefore it's hard for me to even understand, like, is the way he's presenting this story him, or is it a character?
Right.
So far, we've spent 5 hours or so together.
I know you well.
You know me so well, but I'm actually curious if, like, the version you see of me on screen right now is going to, versus what you know of me in person, if that's an indicator of something. I don't know. Might not be. Might be something.
Well, it is helpful to have like a baseline of someone's behavior. Now, so if I know what you look like and how you behave when you're telling the truth, I can look for kind of deviations, specific deviations, like, oh, he's giving way less detail than he usually would. Or he tends to talk with his hands a lot and he's not using his hands at all, right? And so that might suggest that you are lying in this video, but also, we're kind of at the end of this game. We've got this like escalation of...
Score's tied 2-2.
It's high stakes.
This is, if the girls get this correct, they win it all. If not, we go to a sudden death.
Okay, all right.
Round 6, the score is 2-2. Tejas needs to be able to tell the truth or a lie and deceive them. Tejas, choose your prompt.
Oh, wow, yeah, this is nerve-wracking. First time being a contestant on my own channel. It's not fun. Thank you guys for saying yes to these. What's the dumbest idea you convinced yourself was a good idea? What's the dumbest idea you convinced yourself was a good idea?
Dumbest idea you convinced yourself was a good idea.
Like, it's not a good idea, but you really trick yourself into thinking I should do this.
So good ideas, man. Nothing but good ideas.
That insinuates I had a bad idea. I don't.
The premise here is flawed. You be careful, man. They looking. They've been cheating this whole time.
Mirror behind
there's mirrors. They got everything. Don't even pull it out. Just take a peek and put it back. Good.
I saw a jaw clench. Oh, sorry.
He looks nervous.
Calibrating, recalibrating.
They're bad people. They're all just bad people. We don't do this to them.
In high school.
In a high school.
In a high school. In high school, I loved to build. I loved construction, and my friends also did. I had a friend named Rishi and a friend named Miles. And they both were engineers. They actually went to Purdue for engineering, which is a very touted school, so they knew what they were doing. And I like to just follow along because they were so good at physics and chemistry, and I was just jealous of that. One day after school, they were like, we found a formula to make rockets. Little rockets. And not like something you find at like a Target and just one of the toy rockets. They're like, if we mix these two chemicals and put them into a PVC pipe and light it on fire and build just the right wings to this thing, the thing can like shoot up in the air. And they thought it was a good idea. So one day after school, it was a Friday, I remember we were going to Lowe's and we had to buy a chemical that we mix into another chemical. And we went to one Lowe's and it wasn't there. Then I remember we went like an hour away and decided to buy another. We had to go buy the chemicals, and we found the chemicals there. So we bought it, came home, bought the PVC pipe, put the PVC or the pipe.
I hope they ask you what chemicals these were. I feel like you won't be able to answer.
Powder into the PVC pipe. I forgot there was like 1 or 2 steps. I'm forgetting today. And then we're like, let's light this thing. But we didn't really know how powerful this thing would be. Right? We're like, oh, it's a rocket. We saw some like YouTube tutorials and whatnot. So I thought it'd be funny. We lit it, and I thought it would be funny if I was like, why don't I just like, because I saw people recording it, I was like, what if I just like squatted right on top of it? I don't know why. And so I walk up to it, I squat on it, and the thing just goes off, hits me right in the ass. And like, it felt like I jumped 10 feet into the air. I probably jumped like 2 feet in the air, but it hurt so bad. But I have a video and of this rocket just firing right up into my ass that we made back in high school.
Who drove you around to the Lowe's?
My friend Miles.
How old were you guys?
He was a year older. So I think he was a senior and I was a junior.
Did you upload the video on the internet?
I did.
You could check that.
They couldn't hear.
Do other videos like that exist on the internet?
Of that action, no. I hope not. It was I felt like it was too dangerous for anyone else to be even. It was a bad idea. It was a horrible idea.
What happened after you guys? Was that on school property?
It was at his house.
Oh.
At my friend Rishi's house, I should say.
Where?
In the driveway.
Not in the backyard.
Oh,
No, just the driveway, yeah.
What were the name of the chemicals that you guys had to get?
It was, I remember one of them was potassium nitrate, because potassium is an alkaline metal. Highly reactive.
Were you interested in like science experiments on YouTube at the time?
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I like.
Do you see like a really similar video of somebody doing that?
Of squatting down or like the rocket
Like
part?
shooting rockets in weird places.
We saw very normal videos of it. I think I don't know why, but I decided to just squat right on top of this rocket.
Did you want it to be like a viral moment?
It wasn't ever posted publicly.
Can I walk you through what I'm thinking? I think you got the prompt. I think you had a great truth, and you were really looking forward to that. I think then you pulled a false, and then you had to recalibrate quickly in real time, and you remember a video that you remember in such detail that you were able to
I think the same thing.
fabricate. But these friends are real.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of truth to like the beginning parts of it, but I feel like that science experiment was like not the one that like happened.
I've seen a video of a rocket getting shot out of someone's butt.
Into.
Someone's butt. I know, but I just think that's like why. I think that's where you got the inspo.
I also, you said that you posted it, but then you said it wasn't posted like publicly. So like, what is you posting privately? Like, where does it live? This video, this supposed video
on my Finsta.
On your Finsta.
What'd you do after that happened?
Yeah, what did I do? I remember we were all in shock, obviously, because it was a rocket that fired up. And up my butt. I think I was more just like, I was just like glad I was safe. I didn't have any injuries from that.
How did you not have any injuries from that?
I don't
Because you
know.
said it was very, very powerful.
It felt powerful.
You were rattled. You were scared though.
What?
You were rattled.
Sorry, they're making me laugh.
It went clean in. What do they not understand? It's a clean entrance.
It didn't enter anything. Let me make that clear.
Did you
It
guys
just, like, ricocheted off?
walk me through the emotional state after it happened with you and your friends?
It was. I remember it was like everyone started laughing, or no, everyone was shocked, and then I was like, and then we all started laughing.
Okay.
And then it was something that I felt like I had to post on my Finsta, and for a Finsta it had high engagement.
What were some like comments you got? Like ow.
There was, I remember, it was like a lot of, oh my god, I guess, yeah.
How big was the rocket? Like, can you describe? Because you say it's like a PVC pipe, but
It
like,
was a PVC pipe.
what
Yeah.
else is going on in it? Like the structure, like.
Maybe like it was like 3 to 4 inches.
What do people do when they lie? Like like physically.
When they lie? You tell me what are you thinking? Maybe I can say yes or no to if I agree.
Do they like swallow a lot?
I would assume.
Just because I'm curious.
Was it like a split-second decision? You were like, oh, it'd be really funny to squat over this, and
Yeah.
no one knew.
Yeah. No one knew I was gonna do it.
Okay.
I think it's a lie. I don't think you would do that to yourself.
What do you think is let me just like open the floor here for do you have any thoughts with the cross-examination, the story, anything you've noticed, either if like I was tasked to tell a lie or tell the truth, things that like went well or didn't go well?
I guess with respect to the cross-examination, like I like that they're taking the opportunity to ask you questions, because sometimes on the guy's side you didn't ask a whole lot of questions before you seem to like kind of come to a decision. So they're asking lots of questions. Some of them are pretty narrow. Like, what were the comments that you got on the video? You know, that might be like an unanticipated question. So one thing that instances where you can increase the likelihood where liars will, look like they have to think really hard is if you ask them questions where they have not prepared an answer. Now, in this case, like, no one has really prepared an answer because they're just getting this like right on the spot, right? But unanticipated questions tend to reveal more of these behavioral cues to deceptions than ones that people have like prepared for. So that's kind of an interesting question to ask. But one thing I think that they're just like missing, or like an easier question would be like, just tell me more. Tell me more about that decision you made to go stand over the rocket, or tell me more about the rocket itself. And you can do that more than once.
Yeah.
You can say like, okay, she asked about like the size of the rocket, and you were like, it was like 4 inches. And then she seemed like, oh, that's like not as big as I expected, is like the reaction that she gave. But she could have been like, okay, tell me more about that. Tell me more. And like, the more that you keep asking about that, at some point, like, the liar will start to kind of run out, or it'll be harder for them to keep coming up with details, whereas the truth teller has a less difficult time.
And then there's a higher chance of the liar contradicting themselves.
Yeah.
It's you're just almost tell me more almost just creates opportunity, which is what that makes it
for
great.
inconsistencies.
So at this point, Hallie and Anya both go, I think this is a lie. Let me just rewind just to.
Was it like a split-second decision? You were like, oh, it'd be really funny to squat over this, and
Yeah.
no one knew.
Yeah. No one knew I was gonna do it.
Okay.
That's why it was such a shock.
I think it's a lie.
I think it's a lie. I don't think you would do that to yourself.
My gut is telling me it's a lie.
Annie, look
I
at Annie.
really do think it was like
Studying.
I think there's a lot of truth in it, but I think like the overall.
Yeah. She was just staring me down.
I just think you could have like made up. I think your friends are real. You were engineering students.
Yeah, that part I think is.
But I don't think you would have squatted over a rocket. That's just not how I know you.
Time to remember.
I'm so worried you're over-gesturing. Over-gesturing.
Yeah,
Gesturing.
because like his gestures throughout the story were giving lie, but then also Tejas is a smart man, and he could be doing these things on purpose to make it seem like he's lying.
Now, what's interesting about the arms race, though, is like at some point your brain just like doesn't have enough mental capacity to be like, you know.
So reverse psychology.
Yeah,
just
right.
Kind of almost repeat it.
Yeah. He knows that they said that they know that you know that, and that you're like, okay, at some point. That's generally what happens to liars anyways. Like they have way too many kind of cognitive demands.
Yeah.
And then you get that like latency, et cetera, or lack of detail. And if you're trying to layer on top of that, like, okay, I don't just need to lie, but I need to look like I'm telling the truth. And I need to like try to deceive myself into thinking that I pulled a different card than I already got. Like at some point, you're actually making it harder for yourself.
Totally.
Yeah.
No one got in trouble.
No one got in trouble.
Fuck no. Oh, sorry. I kind of feel like you're telling the truth.
Really? Based on what?
His reactions to us delineating.
Annie's smart.
I've been
You guys
wrong,
should trust
but
Annie.
I've been wrong every time. So like truly, it's a toss
But
up.
maybe you would have like extra cautious like contortions while you're being deliberated because we're leaning towards the right answer.
Yeah. I feel like you're trying to obviously manipulate the outcome, and so like I feel like you're doing little like you're clenching your jaw. I just saw it clench. I just saw it clench, and you're trying to throw us off.
What did you say? There's a lot of cameras now.
I think it's a lie.
I think it's a lie too.
Is that official?
Is this verdict?
But
man.
I would sway if you're really
I know,
confident
it
about
was so
the truth.
hard. The hard part is that
She's staring me down so hard.
Annie's
I know,
smart.
Sorry,
Annie's smart.
I'm trying to like read
No,
you so
don't be-
hard. You're thinking it's a lie. You're gonna run with our first thought.
Were there any indications while he was telling the story that he was telling the truth to you?
Not really.
like the students and how they went to Purdue or something. Like I think that was like deliberate to try and like add a truth, like a truthful nugget, an anchor.
Letting us know it was Friday.
Yeah, trying to like add in some little hyper specific things that are easy to
giving
toss
background of your classmates as well. I was like,
in. Yeah.
that's
Rishi.
Which one drove?
Miles.
he drove miles.
Miles drove.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Yeah, we need an official answer.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. I think it's true.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Dun dun dun.
I mean, we could go true.
This is also too, and I could be so wrong. That's what's like scary about this. Like when I was like, it's true, and you were like, maybe no. His eyes like really kept looking to you, like maybe for potential help. But I could be really misreading
Like
that.
potential help to prove that it was like
a lie. Like
lie.
hope. Yeah.
like
I
Oh,
don't
the
think
stakes
he
are
would
so
do
high.
that, but I would be down to go truth if you think it's like in the middle enough.
Can we take a risk because it's like fun?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Let's do it.
yeah.
Is it true?
Is that your official answer?
I'm kind of leaning. I think.
Oh shit!
I
don't think Tay just would shoot a
I
rocket in his
know.
foot.
I kind of feel like it's a lie.
All right, official answer. Let's go.
The word official and your answer needs to be in the same sentence.
Okay.
And then,
Let's run with lie. And this was so
No,
fun. I had such a great experience.
It's 2-1.
I don't know.
this
Let's
is
go.
hard.
Let's
go
just
with
do.
you.
Let's just
Let's
figure
say
it.
true.
Okay. We officially think it's true.
No.
Oh my gosh.
how? Oh my goodness.
Who's seen the video?
How? You guys want to see the video?
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. I tried my best to like there's a weird thing especially after seeing 5 rounds of this.
Yeah.
I absolutely tried my best to just present myself as a liar as humanly possible.
So what
But-
did you try to do when you were giving that story to make yourself seem sketchy?
Well, that's a great question. You remember when you said like I hope they ask you what chemical? I knew the chemicals, but I like purposely was like trying to think about the chemicals to them. But even planting that into the story for them to ask that question, right? Or even like there's I think I had actually an inconsistency in there that they didn't realize that they didn't catch. But at one point I said I'm going to Home Depot for the chemicals, but then at another point I said I'm going to Lowe's.
Yeah.
But like there's these elements, like a conscious element to kind of like fib a little bit, but also give enough detail, like random detail. Oh, this was on a Friday. These are the names, right? Like I think you said if someone is giving these details, then it's a truth. So I like tried my best to just go as almost like not 50% of it was a lie, but like 50% of it was vague enough.
Yeah.
But also like my body language just taking an extra second to respond. I thought that the story was specific enough to where that actually favored a truth. Like where could this guy have pulled a story that he like fired a rocket up his butt? Like it's such an insanely like a crazy story that I think that favored truth. And it was the truth. But how can I make my presentation as slow and like I'm trying to actually clam myself up.
Yeah.
Like I try to get myself to like kind of sweat a little bit too. And the crazy thing was Anya and Hallie were so dead set on it being a lie. They were about to go lie. And then Annie, it was a 1v2 and Annie was like, I think it's the truth. And I couldn't believe that. And then at one point at the very end, Annie's like, I'll just go lie as well. And they're like, no. Let's all go truth now. And they somehow got it. So I don't know.
I think what's fascinating about this is that isn't really something we see in the real world, where people are trying to convince other people that they are deceptive when they are honest, right?
Yeah.
So, dude, I'm glad, because it's already like complicated enough where people, we're always trying to like come across as honest even when we're deceptive.
Yeah.
And that makes the world like messy enough as it is. Whereas if you're trying to like do the opposite and like play these 3-dimensional mind games.
That's so interesting. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
That was
How did you do that?
Exhilarating.
How did you do that?
Wow.
There have been you guys are so close to lie.
I
know.
Yeah,
So
that's really
close
crazy.
to lie. I cannot
Freaky.
believe that.
Dude, your smarts
Yeah, that was
became your
Yeah.
hubris. Like,
Yeah.
too good.
I fucked
Yeah,
this.
the clenching, the sort
Ready?
of like,
Yeah. Awesome.
no way. 24 likes on a Finsta.
Yeah.
Holy
That's a really great
That's a
video.
That's a real
okay, that's a
story.
really, really good video.
Wow.
That's fucking hilarious.
Any final thoughts on that situation?
I want to know, like, I want to do studies now on this, like, on the group decision making.
Yeah.
And like,
I wrote it down here.
yeah.
You see, like, so truth, lie. So, except for Hallie, there was no consensus on any of them. There was not a case where everyone thought the same answer. There's always some sort of disagreement. But so 2 out of the 3 times, Annie thought it was a lie. Anya thought it was a lie.
Hallie thought it was a truth and then ends up convincing the girls to go true. So the 1v2 won. Same thing with mine. Annie initially thinks lie. Anya also thinks it's a lie. Hallie thought it was a lie. Then Annie flips and somehow convinces the other two it's true, and they get it correct.
Yeah.
And I think there's something interesting that it was just a more confident person that had a stronger, quote unquote, intuition that convinced the others. Because I think at the end of the day, a lot of us were just like, I'm sort of 50-50. Like, I have no idea. I'm just going to like take the signal that you are more confident in your decision as like my decision too, because I don't have confidence in myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredibly difficult task. There's no Pinocchio's nose. There's no one thing that, and even and you've set this up in like a way that makes it easier, quote unquote, in that they're not prepared to tell this lie.
The lie has to be at least 50% of the story.
Yeah, so it can't just be like a little lie. You get to interrogate them, right? And you get to work with a group. And so those are all things that tend to increase our abilities to detect lies. But obviously, it's not a foolproof endeavor whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, the girls got all three of us correct. They guessed, so the final score was 3-2. Except for Annie's story in the very beginning, we guessed everything else correct. So 5 out of the 6 times.
Yeah. That's actually really good. You would expect, so like if we did I'm curious to see what individual level accuracy would be.
I need to get through that,
Because we find, at least like without the interrogation, without the group decision making, we tend to find that 54% accuracy. So to get 5 out of 6 is much higher than we would expect, like 3 out of 6.
Yeah.
What are just expectations versus reality / observations of this experiment?
It was really interesting. I was kind of talking with them earlier. I feel like the data would be really interesting if with the prompt that we got, we weren't allowed to like think for a long time and like attach onto like a real story, because it's so much easier to lie if you have like a lot of truth to a story and then just kind of change around some details. Like even being like a good person or whatever, like it's kind of easy to change around some details. But if it was like you had to just completely fabricate a lie out of nowhere, I feel like that would be really interesting to like pick up on like body language and see what that would bring. Yeah, I think it was just a lot harder than I expected to tell if people were lying. And I think that's part of it, so that's why I bring that up. I think because we were able to like think for a while and attach ourselves to like a real story, I think that made it a little bit harder to tell. Or also all smart, so it was like, are they reverse psychologizing me right now? That was not a smart thing to say. but like, yeah.
Yeah, so, she talks about that people had the opportunity to sit and think for a second or whatever, that, it provides people with some time to think through what they're going to say, but that also becomes a cue to deception, right? So like people actually use that like long pause as a kind of like, oh, that aroused suspicion. Yeah. And so that was a useful, not only as like, this is an opportunity that the liar has, but the lie receiver can use that as a potential cue to deception. But yeah, she's still right. This is really hard to do.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating that lie detection just day to day is basically flipping a coin.
But okay, so here's why that's not a scary thing. Because I think that sounds scary, where we're just like running through life just flipping coins all over the place, right? That makes it sound like we are getting duped a lot. We're falling for a whole lot of lies, right? But people actually tell relatively few lies. Like there's these like daily diary studies by Bella DiPaolo and her colleagues. And basically they just have people like move through their day normally. At the end of the day, they write down like, okay, who did you lie to? What kind of lies did you tell? How many were there? And the most common answer is 0. On average, like 1 to 2 lies per day, because you get a few people who tell a lot of lies per day, and that kind of skews the average. But it's like most of our communication is honest. And so therefore you don't need to be like quite so freaked out about this kind of inability to detect lies, or how hard it is to detect lies. Now that's the case in our like face-to-face communications. Whenever we start to, get online we're in a kind of polluted information environment where we're getting a whole lot of like misinformation or just like trying to be sold things. We're starting to see like AI slop show up places now. Like the context in which that truth bias developed evolutionarily was like a pretty honest place. And so it made a whole lot of sense that we had a truth bias and we pretty much believed everything we heard because that's like, you're going to be right most of the time. But in our new kind of modern life, this is less the case. And I think it increases the likelihood that you're going to get duped. But I think more than that, it just makes us kind of like untrusting and afraid, and we don't really know who to put our stock into.
That makes sense, yeah. I'll say something later in this that is sort of correlated with that. But I think even the scarier thing is, especially in this world where we might get duped more just because there's probably more misleadings happening. The scary thing is once you get misled, I feel like now your guard is up in a asymmetrical amount.
Yes.
You know, and like that's a scary thing. Now you're gonna assume, you're gonna be more skeptical around the world around you, maybe at too high of a degree.
Yeah, totally.
Is that a scare of yours, especially as we are now almost in this abundance era of information, and probably with more information comes more opportunities to be misled?
I think that's what we're starting to see in some of this, trust declining data is right. It's like people are kind of like pulling back. And I think it's not at all a coincidence that this decline in trust coincides with this epidemic of loneliness. Because whenever we start to like not know who to trust, trust is the willingness to be vulnerable to another person. Yeah. If we're like, you're gonna screw me over, I'm not gonna like open myself up to you or to, this interaction, then we cut ourselves off, we become more insular, and we don't get disconfirming evidence, right? So like if I never actually trust someone, if I never open myself up to potentially be hurt, I never get the like incredible feeling of getting something positive in return. And so I just get kind of more evidence that people are terrible, as opposed to trying to take like little baby steps to try to trust people and actually finding out that most people are pretty honest and kind.
Forgot to ask, I should have asked at the very beginning. In your day-to-day, do you think you're good at detecting lies?
Yes.
Before today? Okay.
Yes.
You said okay.
I think I am, 100%.
Yeah. Hallie?
I do think I'm pretty gullible, but I also am skeptical. So I think even if someone is telling the truth, it takes a lot for me to like believe something, I guess. I don't know if that
really? Would you say more trusting or distrusting if you met someone?
I think I try to be really honest, and for some reason I don't believe that sometimes I like overanalyze stuff a lot. Even though I hold myself to, or I try to hold myself to like an honest standard. I don't know. I guess I do look for things that like are I don't trust easily. I don't think.
Okay. Interesting.
Shocked by the amount of micro information that passes by all the time. I was like I was too confident. I was pretty sure that like a single tell could really let me into an entire person's inner world. But I was shocked that it's actually like, instead of like a moment that captures a person, there's just like a river of personality constantly flowing. And there's the person's river of personality, and then it's my river of personality. And like, so when you do catch that intuitive truth, I think those are those moments we're feeling where we're like, oh, like, I caught something but it's really hard to align those things. I'm realizing how important intuition is in this like vast amount of information.
I think what she's saying there is interesting because you've got, she's recognizing that we're this constant stream of sending information, and you're also sending information to me, and it's not like this is occurring in a vacuum because we're affecting each other. And so it's an incredibly complicated with all kinds of information, all kinds of different behaviors, and some of them are, weakly related to deception, and a lot of them are not. And so it can be very difficult to parse through all of that stuff. And also, she's kind of talking about this stream, right? And it's happening over time. And I think that often people think, oh, I'm going to detect a lie like in this current stream of information that we got going back and forth in our conversation. But in reality, often that extends past this particular interaction, like where we go and we talk to a friend about, oh, I had this conversation and they told me about this story about the rocket up the butt, and they're like, oh, I've never heard about that. That's really weird. So you actually start to, in the real world, lie detection doesn't occur like in the moment like this. It's more like a ping of suspicion, and you might come back to it later.
Totally.
And one final, would you say you're a trusting person day to day?
What does it mean to trust?
Shoot, let Craig answer that.
How I took it was like whether or not, if you're meeting someone for the first time, whether or not you would like feel safe or feel like you have to hold
Skeptical.
back. Yeah. I do think
Like
I'm
feel
being
safe
skeptical.
putting like vulnerability into this person or like faith in someone.
Sorry for the nitty gritty, but I'm
I like
curious
that. I like
about
that.
it because I think there's trust when it's like a moment at stake, when there's like an exchange of some kind. But for the most part, I think I'm just kind of sensing how present someone is behind their eyes, or if like you can kind of sense like a tension if they're trying to like hide something about themselves, and it doesn't make them like a bad person in any way, but there's like almost this like barrier between my personhood and their personhood. And
I think maybe what she's getting at here is this like authenticity, right? So like maybe I'm not like deliberately trying to make you think that I'm like a different person with a different name than I actually have and a different job than I actually have, but I'm not like letting you see all of me. Like, like my husband sees me do like really silly things all the time, and I don't do silly things in front of like cameras in professional scenarios, right? So like there's authenticity, slightly to the side of a like deliberate attempt to mislead someone. But it's, they're related concepts. And so I think that's part of what she's getting at, that willingness, and trust is associated with both of those things, right? Trust, we define as just that willingness to be vulnerable to another person.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we are better at detecting lies when there's high stakes. So like if you're in a relationship, you know the person. If it's a close friend, you're trying to guard either the relationship, the friendship, or even if it's like a business thing, there's stakes involved. And then your like detectors go up. But I think regularly all day long, we're hearing lies, we're lying to each other. Like we said, women lie, compliment each other all the time. Guys, you guys are on business calls, business deals, constantly complimenting, trying to seem nice. And this entire table is entrepreneurs / artists, both, and we lie to ourselves all day long. Like, you're gonna make it, And then you look at the bank account and you're like, that doesn't look like we're making it. but you lie to yourself. It's the only way to make it this far. We've all been doing it for a long time now, in some facet. So I think we are better at detecting lies when there's stakes, and like women's intuition, so powerful. Guy cheats on her in like another country, she feels it. She doesn't have to like talk to him. She talks to him a week later, and he can say whatever. She's not reading his face, looking at his jaw. Oh, you looked up to the right. None of that shit. Like, she knows. Intuition it's everything in that sense. So yeah, I think lying helps the world.
I'm not going to vouch for the fact that women have some sort of like special ear to God or something like that. We don't have any special like truth detectors.
Helps the world go round, and I think you should lie to everyone all the time.
I think that it's easy to be really confident that you know if someone's telling the truth or not, especially with someone you don't know very well. And just like you guys said, I'm asking questions to confirm what I think to be true, so I can convince the other two people that I'm trying to convince that they should agree with my answer. And so I'm almost trying to convince myself of what I already believe. I think it's hard to convince yourself of the opposite once you have a really strong feeling. And it seems like that feeling was right many times. So maybe you should just trust your gut. But I'm very trusting of people, I would say, until they give me a reason to not be trusting of them, but sometimes to a fault, I would say.
It's interesting how many of us are like, intuition and trust your gut. Intuition and trust your gut is like is what we should do to follow our like detectors. When I think that's probably one of the biggest things I'm going to take away from this too. It's like, honestly, your intuition is a signal, but it's not correlated with accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, if you can kind of like train your intuition, that it might be better, but really you would be better off just being like, how detailed is this person's story? And just do that, and don't get distracted by any of your other, you know, gut things or any other behaviors.
Just focus on one variable.
Yeah, focus on one cue, and the cue that we know that works the best.
Yeah.
And that tends to be things like, it tends to be verbal things, not nonverbal things.
Yeah.
So like how detailed, how verifiable the account is. To the extent that that is what your intuition is based on, because also intuition is a little bit like, I don't even know exactly, you know, where it's coming from. It's a little hard to define.
Totally.
Yeah. So is it just like your quick assessment versus having thought about it for a second?
That's a good point.
Yeah, you would be better off to just have like a simple heuristic, focus on this one cue that is not perfect, but is better than just freestyling it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
There's this idea that's like called like loss aversion, and it applies to a lot of things, but the whole concept is that we feel losses of a magnitude worse than positives of that magnitude. So for example, it feels worse when someone steals $100 from you than if someone gave you $100, but it's the same amount of net gain. And so I think for me, anytime something negative happens, I try to like overcorrect by going, it's not that negative. So whenever someone does burn me, I'm like, am I just taking for granted all the amazing things that happened with my friends and just kind of like let this burn go aside and not let that affect if I should trust the people around me? So I think I always go into things being like, I trust everyone. I want to give to everyone. Sure, maybe like one or two people might burn me that feels really heavy, but do I just take for granted all the amazing things that happen with the other?
With an open heart.
Exactly.
I think that's a really good point, is like you can find this like confirming evidence, right, that people are terrible. You focus on that one negative event. So we also tend to focus on the negative. So not just loss aversion, but like we focus on negative information. And from like an evolutionary perspective, that makes so much sense because that's like the danger stuff, right? Yeah, exactly. But it can kind of cloud your recognition of all the other good people out there. You know, I feel like I've been talking about this in the context of leadership and dark personalities recently, and people are very quick to come up with examples of someone in, you know, really high level of leadership who might have some of these dark personality traits, or someone who might lie a lot. But there's also many, many leaders who don't have those traits. But those, like the few that do, confirm this sense, right? That all rich people are terrible or evil, tend to come to mind very quickly. And so it's helpful, yes, to sit back, to try to remember that disconfirming evidence and kind of, and look for it, because we often brush over all of the amazing good people and focus just on those bad few.
So after watching this, what would you want the viewers to understand about deception that you think most people get wrong?
I think what most people get wrong is that lie detection is something that occurs like this. Something that occurs like in the moment, that you're going to be able to see one behavior and you're going to be able to like project yourself into their mind and know whether this person is lying or telling the truth. Because in reality, those cues are very subtle, and real lie detection tends to be more of like a fact-finding mission after the fact. Like you're following up on maybe some details that they gave, you're trying to verify things. Maybe you were never even suspicious to begin with, but then you hear another friend tell the story and it sounds a lot different than what you heard the first time. And then you're like, oh.
There's always like context that comes in from different places, and that,
In some ways, what we do in the research lab is similar to this, where we record these little videos and like I show you a video of this stranger who's telling the truth or telling a lie. But in reality, it usually doesn't go that way. Usually there's a broader context. There's some social network that that lie is embedded into. Yeah.
Makes sense. Are there any good reasons to lie?
So people I'm not like a philosopher.
Okay.
Like I feel like this could go into the philosophy realm, but certainly research suggests that like people think there are good reasons to lie. We lie to get away with things. We lie to hurt other people. But mostly I think what people think about when the good reasons to lie is you're lying for the benefit of another person. And actually, people who tell these kinds of altruistic or pro-social lies that benefit another person, not themselves, are perceived as more trustworthy by other people. The research that has most convinced me that we should try to avoid even pro-social lies where possible is some work that came out of my own lab with Sam Spriggings. We looked at the kind of social connection between people in conversations where there were lies versus no lies. When there were lies in the conversation, people felt less close to each other. It was specifically the person who was telling the lie who started to feel suspicious of the other person in the conversation. They were like, if I'm lying to you, maybe you're lying to me. So we call it deceiver's distrust. It's like, if you're telling a lie, you start to think other people might be doing the same thing. And we ask people like, how lonely are you in your day-to-day life? How many lies do you tell? People who told more, even pro-social lies, also reported being more lonely in their life. And so I think there's this like negative consequence of telling even lies that are meant to protect our relationships that we don't really take into account. Yeah.